Adam, this is the URL for your site. Well, this is what it should be. It should be Adam, f1631.asites.com. That's a root. That's the base, the root file, or the URL rather. And then after that, you have any folders or files that you have. What you did was you listed a URL with just the Huck Finn. And obviously I couldn't find it. I added the extension of HTML, still couldn't find it. Went into your website. I did see this is your folder structure. Inside FND 132, you only have week 3. You should have week 4, and have the file inside that. Let's get back. Let's get past that. Here's your Huck Finn, but this is a text file. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to work this. Now, that would explain why you had just text when you went to look at it. Because it's just a text file, actually, I'm not sure. Let's just open, let's rename this here. Add the .html. I'm assuming that that's what you should have. So anyway, let's open up this with Notepad. This is your markup. Okay, so I don't see any head element in here at all. I see the style element down here, but that has to go inside the head element, and it doesn't look like. I think it looks like you mixed things up here. So let's do this. Let's start with a new text document, and I'm going to open up the doc type that I have, and that's in here, and I'm going to open this up with Notepad. I'm going to copy this. That's the basic structure. Again, I posted these in the classroom. I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to paste. Let's bring this into view here. Paste what we just copied, and I'm going to paste what you just did. This is your body section. That's going to go in this area right here, and that we don't have to be concerned with. Let's skip down to the styles, which actually go in the head element, and that's here. You don't have a closing style tag either, so we're going to have to put that in there, and that goes there. And then at the end, we have to close that with the closing style tag. Okay, so that's an internal style sheet. What I'm asking for is an external. We'll get there in a second. Let's close this up for a second. There. Now we can name this whatever we want. We'll just name it Huck. So we have a basic format here. We have a doc type. We have the opening HTML. We have an opening head tag, and we have the styles going on an internal. We're closing the head section, opening up the body element, and this is what you should see in the browser. And then you close the body element, close the HTML. So this is the basic structure of what a web page should look like. Now, to make it function on the internet, we have to name it accordingly. You have to have that extension in here. Notice that this one right now it's TXT because it's a text document. I'm going to save this right here. Close it out. If I rename this, all I have to do is, if I renamed it index, add the HTML extension. Notice what's going to happen. It's going to when I click enter, it's going to change. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes. It's going to change to what my default browser is, which is Firefox. It changes the icon accordingly. So every time you double click on this, it's automatically going to open up on my browser. If I want to edit this, in fact, I can close out your original at this point. If I want to edit this, I just right click and I say open with, and then choose Notepad, and I can open it up in Notepad. Now, if you're on a Mac, very similar processes. You just right click and you can say open with Text Wrangler or whatever text editor you're using on the Mac. Very similar procedures, back and forth. It doesn't really matter because the web is universal in terms of platform, PC or Mac. So the programs that you're using to edit them may be slightly different, but the process is exactly the same. You have to make sure that there is a .html extension. Now let's go one step further here. So we have a basic file right here. And actually we can open this, double click on this, we can open that up and see what it looks like. This is what you did. So you actually did a nice job here. So we have a division of a box, and that is your main element. So that's that one right there. This one right here, that's your main box. Let's slide this right here so we can see what's going on. There we go. And then we have the header, and you're ending the header right here. That's this right here, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. And then you have some space going on here, and then you have a main division, and that's that right there, and that's basically the text, and then you have a little footer. Not a big deal. It's a very basic page. Came out nice. Now to adjust those, obviously you'd be adjusting the CSS portion. So we have the body of the page declared, we have the box, we have the header, and we have the footer. Three different boxes in the page. So everything's working out well there. What we want to do is to bring this and make this an external style sheet. And the way we do that, I'm going to create a new text document. I'm going to name this style.css. When I change this, notice it's yes. I'm going to change my format. Notice that it becomes Dreamweaver. I have Dreamweaver installed on this computer, so it wants to open up CSS in Dreamweaver. What I want to do is right click, and I'm going to open that up with Notepad. So there it is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my style sheet, and I'm not going to copy the opening and closing tags. I just want the selectors and the declarations, and I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it, click over here, paste that in there, and save the file. That's saved as style.css. Close that out, and I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to select everything that I just selected before plus the opening and closing style tags, and I'm going to delete that. Now I'm still in the head section, so how do I link this file, the index.html, to the style sheet that I created? I'm going to go over here, I'm going to I have an opening tag. It's called the link tag. So I'm going to start off with link, and then I have to tell the attributes of the link tag where the file is. So whoops, href, just like a hyperreference, equals, and then what is the file name? It's called style.css, and quotes. We need some other attributes in there too. This is a link to a style sheet, so the relation would be style sheet, end quotes. What's the type? The type is text-based / CSS. And then it's a self-closing tag, so I have to add a space, then the slash, and then the finally closing bracket. That's our link to the external style sheet right here. So I need these two files together all the time in order for it to work. If I were to have the style sheet in a separate directory, I would have to precede this file name with the directory and then have a slash there. That's just format that we have when we're dealing with file structure. So currently this is going to work. If I save this right here, because I just modified it, and I go back over to my browser and I click refresh, it should look exactly the same, which it does, because everything is still found. Now one other thing that I wanted to mention is look at your text. You have these question marks in here. Let's go back and actually look at this text. You have a UTF-8 character set declared, which is fine. And I believe those question marks are these dashes right here. She is, yes. That is not UTF format. I can just simply replace that with a dash, like that, right on the keyboard. And then if I save it, and then click refresh in my browser, you're going to have those disappear, and it's actually going to be a dash, which it is. So this one, whoops, I made a mistake that was an equal sign. So I'm going to have to go back and correct that. And here we go. That should be wrong key. Save. Now it should be all set. So refresh, boom. That's the way it should look. Now we have a external style sheet with the document here. What I want to do is, for this demonstration, I'm going to open up FileZilla. I'm going to get into Whoops, I already had your site open. Let's go back and open that. I'm going to open up your site. Okay, in the FND132 folder, I'm going to create, right-click, I'm going to create another directory. I'm going to call it week 4. You can use this for your week 4 final project as well. Open this up, and I'm going to put, well, actually, you know what, I'm going to have to rename this because it will overwrite when you do your final project. Here it is. I'm just going to name it Huck and rename this Huck Style. And I have to get back in this. Oops, already open. And just rename it Huck Style. Save. So now we have Huck Style. That is the same. We can close this out. I'm going to take these two and I'm going to slide them over into your week 4 directory. That is your directory name, the file name for your directory. Now, what's the web address? I'm going to right click here, copy the URL to the clipboard. I'm going to slide this over here and I'm going to paste that in there, and I'm going to replace the FTP / Adam F1631 at. Get rid of all that. All we have is your Adam F1631.aheadsites.com folder structures FN132, and then we create another folder inside that, week 4, and then / and then whatever the file name is. This part that I highlighted here actually gets replaced with http://. That's your URL. That's what you post in the classroom. And if we were to click OK, that's what the site will look like up online. What happened here? We have to obviously make sure that the external style sheet was typed in correctly. And my bet is that I made a mistake. So we're going to open that up with Notepad, open up the original one on your desktop, make the corrections there, and then slide that into your website. And sure enough, I didn't save. So I didn't save this after I made that change. The style sheet is named Huck Styles. That was still style.css. Save this change, close that out, click this, drag that back over. Do we want to replace it? Yes, I do. And I'm going to drag this into the window, refresh my browser, and there it is. Because the file name was not spelled correctly in remember, these two are linked. We just added a link in the HTML file to link to the external style sheet. Because that was spelled wrong, it had the wrong name, it's not going to find the style sheet. That's why you saw all text there. As soon as I updated the HTML file with the proper linked file for the style sheet, and then I overwrote the file on in your web space, then it worked properly. So I'm going to close this out. Your account's fine. Bring this up over here. I can actually get rid of what I used there. These are the two files. I uploaded it into your directory. I have it up on the browser. It looks good. Now I'm going to copy this, go back over to the validator, and I'm going to type in, oops, where are we? Let's go back here. Type in this, your URL here, and the document passed successfully. So that is working well. That's how you validate the file, and that's how you create the file, that's how you upload a file, that's how you do your URL.